We have here before us two truly lovely people who have decided to go on life's journey together, and we're excited to be on that journey with you. But before I tell you a little bit about Brian, let me acknowledge the bridesmaids, who I think we can all agree look absolutely stunning today. I have no doubt that your friendship and support over the years, and especially today, has meant the world to Kristi. Ladies and gentlemen, please raise your glasses to the bridesmaids. The bridesmaids.
You're still not getting lucky.
Neither are you with that sort of behaviour. You know, when you meet a bloke in the horror section of Blockbuster Video, it sort of comes as a shock to be standing by his side at his wedding a quarter of a century later. It's fair to say, like all good horror movies, I just never saw it coming. Brian, what a ride it's been. I was there as you somehow managed to con your way into the Glebe morgue to film a Shakespearean tragedy featuring 4 naked women posing as cadavers. 4 tastefully naked women, because it was Shakespeare after all. And I was there when, moments before re-entering a Bangkok clothing store who we suspected was scamming us, and they were, you whispered to me, "By the way, you're a cop," and then proceeded to introduce me as a policeman on holiday from Australia, hoping it would impress the Thai gangster in charge of the scam. It didn't. On a happier note though, Brian bagged a great deal on 2 suits, 4 shirts and 2 pairs of pants, all tailor-made, while I came away with a full-price, off-the-rack suede jacket with pink and white candy-striped lining so gaudy it would make Willy Wonka blush. It's safe to say we've been through a lot, and while being asked to be your best man is one of my greatest honours, not much can compare to the day you emailed me out of the blue and asked, "Mate, how would you feel about being the executor of my will?" Yeah, I've got the proof. That came as quite a shock, because from what I understand, people normally ask someone quite a good bit younger than themselves to fulfil that role. And as my good friend Benjamin Button over there well knows, I've been steadily catching him in age ever since we met. You see, the man I met in the horror section of Blockbuster Video said he was 30 years old at the time. And that's if we believe he was telling the truth about his age, which is a bit of a stretch, because our good friend Brian, as Mick, aka Stu, has already pointed out, is an actor. And actors are notoriously cagey about sharing their true age. Lying to get a role is part of the problem. Sure, I can play a 25-year-old in a proper light. These are the sort of lies that drip from an actor's tongue, but what I do know for an absolute fact is that I was 24 when I met Brian. Now, I'm not very good at maths, don't let the glasses fool you. But as of last week, I turned 50, and as a good many of you here tonight will recall, we celebrated Brian's 50th 3.5 years ago. Which means that somehow, in the time I've known Brian, I've clawed back 2.5 years. I'm like the pack of Kenyan runners at the Olympic marathon, chasing down the lone white guy out front. You don't know exactly when, but you definitely know that eventually they're going to catch him. And at this rate, I predict that will be around about his 65th birthday. Now don't worry, Kristi, this special truth-bending skill of Brian's is reserved just for his age. And despite the doubts that I may have now put in your head about his storytelling ways, I want you to know that you really have married someone worth hanging on to. There's no take-backs, by the way. But I've seen Brian at his absolute best. The guy sitting next to you is, as I'm sure you're very well aware, someone who would give his right arm to make sure his nearest and dearest are okay. When his dear mum Valerie neared the end of her life, he never wavered in his devotion to her, making her his absolute priority. From what I knew of Brian's mum, I know she was where Brian got his caring and loyal qualities from. A nurse her entire working life, she would have wanted him to find someone of good character, someone fun, someone who would challenge him to be a better person while also celebrating who he already is. And I know she would have been very, very happy today. Now, as we've mentioned, Brian was an actor and is still known to tread the boards every now and again. He has starred in some of Australia's most loved and cherished films, such as Strictly Ballroom, Struck by Lightning, and the seminal classic Exchange Lifeguards. Even though I've never actually been able to track that last one down, I can tell you that I found the 2-minute preview on YouTube, Just search for it under the American title of Wet and Wild Summer 1992.
That sounds like a porno.
Brian's in it. You won't miss Brian. Standing proudly with his flowing red mullet, he's the only bronzed Aussie lifesaver who is whiter than the white t-shirt he somehow was allowed to wear while filming the beach scenes. It's rated 1 star on IMDb, and the only review I could find called it boring and overly long with stupid and unfunny jokes. And I really hope that guy's not here tonight. Anyway, I should wrap this up. Kristi, I'm so happy that you have found Brian to share your life with. I know it will be a life filled with love and laughter. And Brian, I'm thrilled that you found someone so charming and loving to grow younger with. But I'd like to finish by saying that ever since I've known Brian, I've known him to be someone who creates. After all, acting is about creating. The feature film scripts he's written, the novellas, the short films he's directed, it's all creating. He has created, along with good friends and colleagues here tonight, a thriving and successful business. And now, with his much more beautiful co-star by his side, I have no doubt that they will create a wonderful life together. So all that's left to say is Kristi and Brian, lights, camera, action. To the happy couple.